first question. First question.
Well, it's not going to be a question, but welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the High Soapbox. I am joined today by the lovely Miss Rachelle Wilson, the leader of the Make Some Intelligent Noise Reform Movement, which is a prison reform movement here in Wilmington, Delaware, and she has given me the courtesy of being able to sit down and have a conversation with her today. Now, for my listeners of the podcast, if any of you are wondering why at times we'll be referencing stuff like things might sound a little weird, it's because we were also recording this IRL while we're doing this, and it's currently being streamed live.
Yes.
So, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to do this and giving my voice a platform. I appreciate that, Evan.
If starting with a lighter question, have you ever has some of the people you've worked with who were formerly inside and then came out, have you ever had a prison cuisine before?
Prison cuisine?
Yeah.
Okay, so I work a lot with the returning citizens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call them, returning citizens. People who have been in prison and they are now coming home. And I work with them a lot over one particular location, a safe house, and I kind of hang out there. I've never had any of their cuisine, but it's interesting you asked me about that. My son was just telling me about something that he created. I'm trying to think of the name of. He put oodles and noodles with some sort of cheese doodles or something like that, and soy sauce. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, that I've never had it. But he says, "Mom, it tastes just like, the stir fry from the Chinese restaurant." So, one of the things that I definitely want to do when I get my son home, I'm going to take him out to all the restaurants.
How much longer he got?
According to the judge, if the judges have his way, it'll be another 12 years.
What did he do?
My son robbed a liquor store.
When he was young and stupid?
He was young and stupid. He was 22, just turned 22.
He was my age.
Yeah, and you're not really fully developed mentally or cognitively until you're about 25.
But even then, I would argue that some people don't have enough life experience until they're in their 30s.
Well, I want to be honest with you, and I want to be candid, but I also have to be careful lawfully, just because there are people in this world that do not appreciate what I do. So if they could hurt me or sabotage me, and I don't want to give them any credit to do that. Yeah. But I will say that my son was 2 weeks away from going into the United States military, the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. He had worked for 15 months to meet all of the criteria, above and exceed above the guidelines of what was asked of him, and he did it. His ASVAB score was so high that they gave him a choice of what it is that he wanted to do, and he said he wanted to become a sniper for the United States military, and that's where he was on his way. He was on his way, and then he did something stupid.
And one of his friends decided, hey, and then he says, sure, whatever.
They were at a party. Somebody runs out of alcoholic beverages, says, "Hey, somebody, let's make a liquor store run." Well, my son is driving; he has a car, so him and another person jump in the car and decide to take off.
And this other person decided not to tell him that he was going to make not make a purchase,
a legal purchase. Well, I have to say, my son never revealed to the prosecuting attorney who that other person was or all of the circumstances. He took the charge all by himself, and that other person never stepped forward or took accountability for it. And Justin has this thing that I guess still works today. I don't know, and I can't say I agree with it, but it's called the no snitch rule. Yeah. And rather than him tell the prosecutor who the other person was, he took the whole hit.
Here's my thing. I agree with that no snitching thing, but it's in a case of like say if I'm like Grimey, I'm not going nowhere in my life, and then one of my friends that no snitching policy, at least to me, that right there with your son's story happened in reverse in my mind. That friend of his should have come forward and said, "Yo, this was all me," and not named him at all. Because here's the thing: you're supposed to.
But in a real world, Evan, in a real world, if you and I decide to do a liquor store run, and it's my bright idea to take the liquor without paying for it, and you're just kind of standing there, but you're my boy. See, out in the streets, they got this thing where like, you my boy, you my peoples. So if, let's just hypothetically say the other person was the actual culprit. He's saying, Justin, you my boy, you look out for me. Justin's going to look out for him because that's, he's a loyal friend.
Right, but this is, maybe it's because me and my boys are a little different. Like, she got it. Sorry, for those listening, she got a phone call. Right?
Yeah, I thought I had put my phone on.
It's all good. But
sorry about that.
The way I look at it is just, it's you should, like it's like take like Michael Vick. That whole thing with him fighting dogs and all that.
Yeah.
That was his cousins.
But he took the hit for it.
Right, and here's the thing. Here's what his cousin should have done. Like when the police came and knocked it out, they should have been like, "Was this Michael Vick? Nah, it was me." Like, $350 fine, slap on the wrist.
But that takes a lot of inner moral character and a code of ethics within yourself to stand up. Let me finish. Yeah. To stand up and admit that you were wrong, that you're the culprit, and that you take full accountability for something that has taken place. Now, let me just backtrack. At the time that my son was sentenced, he was 22 years old. He was sentenced to more time of prison than he had lived on this planet. He was sentenced to 25 years for a liquor store robbery that he really had very little to do with, but we can't prove that at this point, so there's no need to even try to bring that up to a prosecuting attorney at this point, because Justin is not ever going to say that person's name, so he took the hit on his own. But the judge, Evan, the judge was a good old boy from Sussex County, and if you know anything about Delaware, you know that's where the good old boys are still, as the songs say, you can smell strange fruit hanging from the trees. There's still hanging folks from trees down there, and my son is one of those people, because the judge is who he is. The judge is who the judge is.
This is why I don't leave Wilmington. Because my thing is, and this goes into policing and stuff like that. I have, despite my complexion, I am just as terrified of the cops, and maybe not terrified, but I am extremely apprehensive.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter, black or white. What matters is a cop thinks he's above us. A man who is born with just as many rights, regardless of skin, like it's part of the reason why when the cops that shoot unarmed people blank, regardless, they're all different types of races and ethnicities. While there is definitely an issue between cops and the black community, I think it's just being hyper focused on that is ignoring the overarching problem, which is the blue wall of silence. Which is there are people who feel like they are above us. Mm-hmm. And feel like they can act as if they are above us. There was in 2006, there was an FBI...
And it has nothing to do with color, but all about...
Power.
Right.
And now, I'm not saying that color has nothing to do with it. There's definitely something there, but it is a piece of a larger grotesque puzzle. In 2006, I believe it was 2006, the FBI put out a report saying that white supremacist groups all over the country, low to high, high to low, south, north, everywhere, east, west, were actively going into law enforcement all over the country.
There was
they told the Bush administration at the time, you have to do something because this could be bad. Because back in the old days, you had Joe the cop. Joe the cop was from the community. It's like if a kid did something like illegal and all that, it's like he didn't bring him to the precinct. He brought him home.
Right.
He brought him to his mama, or dad, which is worse. You know.
And again, that was only the ones that had your complexion. They went home. They were taken to mom and dad and told of their mischievousness. If they had a complexion that was darker than yours, they usually were taken to the precinct. I mean, and we know this from the ages of time.
Right.
We know that.
Right. I'm not discounting that. I will say that in smaller towns where you have a population of 1,000, 2,000, might be a little bit different. You know, but in places like New York where you have things like the Central Park 5 and all that
yes.
stuff. Like when you live in a city of 3-4 million people, the human mind is only able to comprehend 150 people in your tribe.
And our attention span is only 11 to 12 seconds long. I mean, I can only stay focused as a human being, a grown woman. I'm 56 years old. According to science, I can only stay focused for 12 seconds, and then my mind is thinking about the email I need to send later, the paper I need to write, the speech that's coming up, and, it's
even harder for me.
And feed the dog.
It's even harder for me as a web developer because I have to build websites to catch somebody's eye within 3 seconds. Because here's the thing, your mind may wander after 12, but you get bored with what you're looking at in front of you after 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you're looking at. What's in front of you.
Think about Instagram or Facebook. Like, think about
short, quick.
Right.
That's it.
Like, have you ever seen like a video that you're saying it has a caption saying, adorable Schnauzer puppies, and then you see like pictures of mice or whatever in the beginning, and just like you move on
right.
because it's not what you wanted. It's not. It's like you have to catch somebody's eye in the first 3 seconds.
In the first 3 seconds, and you have to catch their attention, and then you have to hold it. I notice oftentimes when I do my Facebook Lives. When I first started off, I would do this long, drawn-out because I'm a high school teacher. So I'm used to explaining things in detail. But you cannot do that because adults are going to flip the page. They don't want to see whatever you're talking about. If you haven't caught their attention in the first 5 seconds of your Facebook Live, they're going to go on.
Right.
And I often found that it might be 10 people will chime in at once, and then it'll go to 7, and then it'll be down to 4, and then before you know it, I've got one person watching until later on. So yeah, the attention span is short, and it's very difficult with so much outer stimulation, the stimuli in our lives every day. It's very difficult to stay focused. I doubt seriously, like I have 3 people right now who were tuned in. I do not know how long they're going to stay with me. It all depends on how interesting the conversation is.
Right.
Too much other stuff going on.
Earlier you said how you were that like when you were being used to a teacher, long drawn out explanations and all that stuff. But let me ask you a question: if you were to go back to being a teacher tomorrow, would you still do that? Would you change how you're?
I would.
Sorry, sorry to my podcast listeners. We had somebody sitting in and she didn't turn off her.
She
ringer.
did not turn off her ringer. I think that. If I had an opportunity to go back to becoming a teacher, which honestly, if I ever can become impactful enough in this movement to make a difference, to make some reform changes, then I would be very interested in pursuing a career back as a teacher.
No, what I mean is...
But if I went back as a teacher, if I had an opportunity to be a teacher again...
What would you change about your teaching style?
And stand up in front of my babies, first I would recognize that... Again, the attention span is short, so you want to get in, concise, tell them what's going on, and keep it pushing. And then, if the student needs help, they'll ask for it. Or if I just kind of peruse around and work individually with the students, I think that would be better. But the way I was trained is to stand in front of the classroom, give out the instructions, explain what needs to be done, and then you walk to the students and say, do you need help, or how can I be of assistance to you?
But they might have needed help 20 minutes ago when you were like 10 minutes into your spiel. It's one of those things where...
The new versus the old, I think that's...
I think that's part of the reason why some teachers are just so dead set against things like Common Core and all of that. It's because I'm not saying it's the best way to go about teaching kids new stuff, but obviously the original way was not doing it. Like in this country, we have schools are intended for people to make this type of person someone just smart enough to run the machinery, do the paperwork, do their job, but just dumb enough to not realize how badly they're getting effed over every day of their lives.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Don't.
And the dumber you are, and the more willing you are to be willful ignorance, or willing to have a place of servitude, the more I'm going to allow you to be the person that works for me or does the extra jobs, or because it's a no-brainer. You're a no-brainer, and it's very easy to get a no-brainer to do almost anything, especially if they have a willing heart. But I want to go back really quick to something also. So last night, I went to a very, very wonderful event. Mm-hmm. It was held at the Easy on Mount Carmel Church, and we were talking about gun violence and how to save our American youth. Well, particularly here in the city of Wilmington, we have to start here. Sure. But Wilmington being the first state, or Delaware being the first state, oftentimes Virginia will catch on. It'll pick up New Jersey, New York, and then it'll spread out in a rippling effect.
I think Flint got it at one. So my question to you would be: is the gun violence in Wilmington is a very interesting concept to me. We've talked about it before, but I'll reiterate my points and stuff here live.
And speak a little louder.
Of course. And we are back from that brief commercial break, and I was about to ask Ms. Rachelle here about the. So that event was about, you were mentioning, was about gun violence in the inner city and stuff like that. And I mean, the way I look at it is I just see it as a bunch of kids who don't understand what respect is, saying they disrespected me, so I took their life.
Yeah. In a way,
they're not fighting over territory. They're not fighting over rackets. They're not fighting over product. They're not fighting over anything that they can take and turn into liquid money and put back into their community.
It's very sad, and it's even sadder that it has to come from, from a young white male to say exactly what I'm thinking. And last night as I sat in that meeting, and so many people were there, elected officials, the community came out. I was so happy that the community came out. They stood up, they offered their suggestions. And I'm telling you, before we leave today, I want to just tell you some of the suggestions that the audience came up with that I absolutely support.
Let's hear them.
Well, I will, but I want to say, if I move too fast, I'll lose my train of thinking because you cut me off, so try not to cut me off.
My apologies.
What I wanted to say is, see, now I forgot, and it wasn't important. I'm going to kill you, Evan.
I deserve it.
I'm going to kill you.
Okay,
I know what I was going to say.
My friends say that all the time.
That you have to say exactly what I was sitting in the audience thinking last night. With all of the wonderful suggestions that people made, it really comes down to young people being able to respect themselves and each other. They are killing each other in some cases over product, paper money, and things associated with paper money. And then in some cases, what you just said.
An Instagram comment.
They're killing each other over an Instagram comment. Oh, he disrespected me. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And again, the street has a different culture than what are, cherry wood desk sitting people up in, over at the federal building. They don't understand that. They're sitting there with shiny shoes and pretty blue suits on at cherry wood desk, and they have no idea what it's really like in the streets. And a young person can get killed in a heart just because he's over here and he's not supposed to be in this neighborhood because he's from another neighborhood.
And it hurts because it's like, I am, for all intents and purposes, an outsider in this. I am from a hick Podunk County in Maryland. I moved here when I was 9. I've lived here ever since. It's my home. I love this city. Delaware is my home. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to start a business as easy as I did if I was in Maryland, because, oh boy, there's things. But the point is that I have people who, I have friends who are basically my family at this point, because I don't really, I don't have too much family still living in state that I can, like, you know, I got family that I love and I care about, but they, like there's a handful, they've got other things going on. I can't call on them like that. You know, they have their own lives. I have friends that I can love and trust and rely on, and some of those friends are having to deal with this dynamic. And and it's like, and you and I had a very candid conversation about, and I had stayed in that Podunk County. If I had stayed in a place that basically was all people who looked exactly like me, I probably wouldn't have given a hoot or holler about this, but I do. Because
it affects you personally now.
It affects yes. My loved ones.
Yes, and here's the thing. I would never have started a criminal justice and prison reform movement if it didn't come knocking on my door.
And what does that say?
I was very happy being a high school teacher.
And what does that say about those people with the shiny shoes and Des at the city building?
Yeah.
What does that say about the company that they keep? They don't. It tells me that they aren't in the community.
They're not in the community.
It tells me that they have forgotten.
Some of them have never even been in. They would be petrified to walk the city streets just from one corner to the next, because they would be petrified that someone's going to hurt them. They would just stick out like a sore thumb.
Dude, you're on Tatnall Street. You're fine. Shut up.
Right. But, you know, I would never expect John Carney, the governor of the state of Delaware, to put on a pair of jeans and sneakers and just say, walk up Market Street Mall by himself without all of his bodyguards and Secret Service and all of these people. Just John Carney just walking up the street, maybe to the Dunkin' Donuts or the Starbucks, and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
He would never do. I mean, I can't imagine.
You know
he would, but you know what? I saw him in sneakers.
Coons did.
I saw John Carney in sneakers and jeans cleaning up something over, I think it was in Southbridge, and it was shocking. I'm like, the governor of the state of Delaware is cleaning up Southbridge, like literally picking up trash off the ground. That's when I knew that, like, I don't have to agree with everything that he says in terms of policy, but him, the man, I like it. Because you can come out of your desk, out of your office, from your shiny desk and your shiny shoes, put on some sneakers and jeans, and get out here with the people, the real people, because they don't get any realer than over in Southbridge and Riverside. That's real people.
I'm from Northside. Well,
yeah,
the white part, but
but you know, for you to be the one to make the statement that it's all about young people. That's one of the things they said last night at this forum. Mm-hmm. One of the things they said is that we have to have more young people. The people themselves, they have got to be the ones in the group. And I said that the last time, and I felt like, you know, no one was listening to me. People don't take me seriously because I'm a one woman band.
But when you have 20, 30 people saying the same thing too,
yes,
it kind of,
yes.
You know, I was watching,
and that's what they said last night.
Right.
Get the young people involved. Another thing they said that was extremely poignant was allow the men of every color, every nationality, allow our men to get out here, particularly our felons, our ex-felons, which we now call returning citizens. Allow our returning citizens to get into the crevices and the cracks and the corners where the young people are doing the things that they're doing, their involvement. Let them get in there with them and actually guide them and be mentors to them and teachers and father figures and big brothers. Allow the men to do that.
I agree completely, and I would say we could even take it a step further. Have you? So I was actually watching this last night while I was working on a client site. I had a video on YouTube. It was Killer Mike talking on some interviews, Breakfast Club, Joe Rogan Experience, something. But he was talking about how he with a small group, like some small like young guys, like teenagers in Atlanta, like a young group of Crips, and getting them in like these little street fraternities, and talking about how to basically taking the Hell's Angels model of 1% of us may be a criminal enterprise, but the other 99% of it, we can sell you a T-shirt. But the point is that moving these kids from doing stuff that has nothing to do with nothing into building an enterprise. I would love to get into the ear of some of these kids and just say, hey, like, you know what you could do? Like, you could, like, and here's the best part: we're in Delaware, which is one of the most business-friendly states in the union.
Yes.
And it would be so fucking easy for some of these kids to just pull each of them pull $20 together, and then be able to go get a years-long business license with all of them as contributors and shit. And then they can just do, and they can start, like in the summer they could start a car washing operation. They could start buying bottled water and
all
stuff and
kinds
reselling
of things.
it. They could.
But we've got to get them, where the east side won't try to kill the west side and the north side aren't trying to kill the east side. And in order to get them together to collaborate, to do a project together is fabulous.
I would rather them
said
compete
last night,
for money than compete for blood.
One of the things that was said last night is to allow more arts. And we've got to start them at little babies, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1. Start them young. Mm-hmm. Get them involved in the arts, all kinds of arts. It's just so medicinal. It's like chicken noodle soup for the soul. And it gives them something else to do, to look forward to be creative, so that their minds kind of get away from, he disrespected me on Instagram. Wilmington used to be
one of like the big, like a real big like underground hub for hip hop. Even
yes,
and I'm just and I'm
bring that back.
Exactly,
bring that back.
And I wonder, like, it's, I mean, one of the things, an old project I had with an old friend of mine, Brian Ortega, at No.2 on Instagram, check him out. We tried to do a thing called 302 Perk, which was originally called basically stands for Delaware Public Eye Rapping Community.
Oh.
And originally it started as a kind of good effort to put people under an umbrella and just unify and do all that stuff.
And you know what?
When that fell through because he was like 15 and I was 17 and we didn't have any money, clout, or contacts. We just ended up turning it into a record company, and that fell through. That's a whole other story.
But you know what? I think you just really hit on a piece of gold there. It was Delaware, Wilmington, the city of Wilmington was a hub for underground, hip hop and rap and singing and the arts. And I remember, as a young person ripping and running around, we would be able to go to the barbershops and hear the latest CDs. Whoever was trying to become the up-and-coming rap star, you had made your own CD, and where do you take them? You take them to the barbershop. That's the first place they're going to go. So if we could find a building, a big place, there's a place here in Wilmington called the Wind Factory, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it's called. Over... I think that's the name of that place. Anyway, it's really, really huge. The warehouse, not the Wind Factory, the warehouse. Mm-hmm. And the warehouse, it used to be Prestige Academy, a school in which I once worked as a teacher.
What happened to Prestige?
Well, that's a whole other story. But if they could take that building, the warehouse, and create on Saturdays a musical hip-hop underground kind of funky atmosphere for the young people to come and record their music. If they think they're the next Jay-Z or the next Nas, let them come into the warehouse and record. That is a way to unify them, because then it doesn't matter if you're from the east side or the north side or whatever side you're from. Mm-hmm. You're at that moment focused on making your music, on your rap, getting your lyrics out, expressing yourself. And even if you never get a CD, it's a place where they can go and vent. And I do say, to start, we need to have a very high police, presence just to get started. But I think after a while,
once you realize that
it's going to be okay.
The only difference is the dirt we live on. The only difference is the dirt we live on.
At least the young people that go there, whether it's Northside, wherever you're from, if you want to go there, or if you're from Centerville, I mean, we've got young white boys who want to be rap artists. You know, I mean, I love him. What's his name? Eminem. Oh my God, I love Eminem. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's very, very artistic.
Even though he's basically
If we allow this place, this space, for these young people to do that, Evan, I think that would cut down a lot on crime.
I agree. I agree entirely, and it's like, I think there's like 3 points. It's just, it's art, it's hustle, and it's heart, and heart, not like art, heart, and hustle. You know, it's part of the reason I don't want to leave, I want to stay in Wilmington is to harken back to our last conversation, which was over police brutality and stuff like that. The police in Wilmington.
Yes.
What she said.
D said.
So just for
D'Lo says, and we can invite other famous artists to judge their talent. I think that's right. You need to allow people to video in. I don't know. She says that should allow people to video in. I don't know what that means. But I like the other ideal about having other artists come in.
For my listeners of the podcast, like I said, we're doing this live and we have people commenting, and Ms. Wilson here was reading out one of them.
Yes, I have someone who's commenting, and I appreciate it. But let's really briefly just get to the crux of why you invited me here. Yeah. For this interview or for this conversation today.
In the last 10 minutes.
In the last 10 minutes, right? We've talked about everything except criminal justice and prison reform. So if I could just have a brief moment to say this. To your listening audience, many of the people from my Facebook page and the people that do support me, they already know my story. But for your listening audience, I will say it again. So my name is Rachelle Wilson. I am the mother of Justin Wilson. Justin Wilson is currently residing at James T. Vaughn Correctional Center in Smyrna. He was sentenced to 25 years of incarceration for a liquor store robbery in Georgetown, Delaware. And so it's been 10 years. He was 22 at the time. He's now 32. And
he's going to be 44.
No, don't say that. Please don't say that out loud. I rebuke that. That's not true, because you just took me all the way off by saying that. He will not be 44 when he gets out, Evan.
God willing.
He will be home long before then, because God willing, the strength and the power and the authority that God has given me to start this movement, I started it because of a vision that came to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I got up and I began to move in the spirit of obedience to that. And by the grace of God, it's 2.5 years later. Now I'm in it. And I started it for Justin. It was Justin who then took the movement and said, no, we're not going to make this just about me, Mom, because of people in here that he has gotten to know, people in here that I know, Mom, need a mother like you. They don't have you as a mom. So you got to fight for all of us. So that's how Make Some Intelligent Noise came about.
I would love to meet your son.
And yes, and hopefully, I pray.
Hopefully someday soon.
Very soon.
Very soon.
If I've tried to have, let me put it this way, because you screwed me up with that one.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You blew me off with that one.
I'm so sorry,
Evan.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just sad. I'm just sad.
So I have never asked any elected official for anything. Like, can you help me go do this for Justin? Or can you go get Justin out of jail? No. I looked for an attorney that I thought would be able to help my son. And I hired an attorney who made me promises that he could have Justin home in an hour. I mean, not an hour. In a year and a half, I'll have Justin home because I'm the one that can do it. I'm the attorney who has the power and the connections.
You went to Lawyer Wade, didn't you?
I'm not going to say who he was. I'd rather not say who that attorney was. Not at this time, anyway.
I know, but back to the prison reform thing.
But the point is, yeah, when you intercede like that, you throw me off.
I'm sorry.
That's not good hosting.
Yeah, I know.
The point is, I started Make Some Intelligent Noise, criminal justice and prison reform movement, because I wanted to help Justin. Justin then turned it to help everyone, help as many as I possibly could.
What's that, man?
I tried to gain the support of the people using Facebook because I'm a very private person. I would have never used Facebook, but I'm a media journalist, so I said I'll just use what I have.
Do what you do.
To try to get the people to stand with me. If I can get 50,000 mothers, because I know we have 50,000 incarcerated people, if I can get the mother or the wife or the sister or the daughter of 50,000 women to stand with me on a federal level, because federal trumps the state, and demand some changes and some reforms, then I will have done my job. But by, some form or fashion, that did not work for me. I did not have 50,000 women that stood up and said, yes, we want to join the movement. We're 100,000% standing with you. I didn't get that. So I said, what can I do as a one-woman show? What can I do to be impactful? The only thing that I could think of, again, was to hold my elected officials accountable, as well as teach the law. If I can teach and help every family that has a case proceeding, a coming up case in front of a judge, and I can tell them or help them in any way, then I have been very impactful, because that's one less person that they're going to bamboozle the way they bamboozled my son and myself. So that's my way of fighting back, to hold our elected officials and judges accountable. And that's my way of fighting back and teaching the law to the people that do not know it. That's how I fight back.
You know what I think about that? I think two things primarily. One, the work you're doing is very, very good, and I think it is going to, and it makes an impact on the community whether you see it or not. And I think that your rewards on earth or above are going to be plentiful and bountiful, with just as long as you keep being persistent with time. And the second, man, if I was a scumbag politician or prosecutor, I would hate to have you, you're like the worst person, you'd be my worst enemy. You're like the worst person.
There are people who run when they see me. There are people, I won't say who, because I think it's best that I don't.
It's better to be cordial and kind than confrontational.
But when they see me walk in the room, the moment they see me walk in the room, they scurry to go that way, or either over that way. Wherever it is that Rachelle Wilson is, they want to go in the other direction because they're afraid.
Ms. Wilson, you are a better person than I, because I'd be in the corner like, hey, don't be pussy, come back, Mom!
Oh, well, I do it my way. After I kind of saunter around the room and say hi to everyone, I kind of saunter my way over to wherever they are, and I make sure I shake their hand. Oh, hello, so-and-so and such a person. I saw you run from me. But,
how could you be mean to somebody who calls you beloved? But I think,
and they're not mean to. I can say this much: every elected official and all of their workers that work with them or for them, not one person has been disrespectful to me.
Good.
First of all, I think they know that's probably not a good idea. Just because of my personality.
Yeah.
But even if I was like a softy pushover kind of person, they're still not disrespectful. They respect what I do.
It doesn't feel good to be a dick.
Well, I mean, they respect what I do. They know that I'm very serious. They know that I'm a mother whose son has been falsely and wrongly incarcerated.
By a racist judge who's probably dead in the dirt by this point.
No, he's not on the bench anymore, but now he teaches law at one of the schools down there in Georgetown.
That's mad problematic.
So
I'm sure one of my more technically enterprising individuals who listen to my podcast could take the information gleaned from here and figure out who that is, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we're not going to say the name of who that judge is. Although I tell you, one day when I found out what was in my son's jacket, I was so upset. I used curse words, and I have clergy that chimes in, and children.
I'm so sorry. I have a bad mouth. I'm so sorry.
But I was so angry. I used curse words, but at the end of it, I said, if that judge was here, I would whoop his ass. If I could get my hands on that judge right now, put us in a boxing ring, and he's a substantially sized man. He's a judge. He's an older man, but I've seen him. He's big.
Yeah.
I don't care how big he is. I don't care. You take that black robe off of him and give us 10 minutes alone.
And on that happy note, I was going to start doing it with this, and I didn't realize we're going to do live. But since we're doing it live, I'll do it. I wanted to do a shout out. I'm starting to do a shout out portion with the podcast, and this is going to be the first one for my listeners. Okay. So, shout out to supporters of Haggard Innovations and the podcast. RX Reboot. Are you looking to have a reboot to your career? Maybe new resume, new change on life coaching, stuff like that. Go to rxreboot.com and get what's the word? What was the tagline? A prescription, something. Just go there, and it's best damn life coach in the state, in my opinion. So if you need that, go there. Next up is a shout out to Squeezebox Records, a cool little record store on something like just behind the Cadillac dealership on Union. And go to squeezebox.com. They have a ton of awesome records, and when you walk into this place, I kid you not, it basically doubles as a music museum. My one friend of the show, Kayla Fleischman, we and her went there today, and she basically was a kid in the candy shop. She was able to get 3 awesome records she wanted for nothing. It was really good. Awesome. Last shout out goes to Cal Visions. At Cal Visions, it's a local streetwear brand where you have high quality prints and online in the sort of Supreme style model. I'm actually going to be picking up a shirt from them myself, and I'm going to send a picture and put it on Instagram. So for our listeners who follow us at Haggard Innovations, keep an eye out for that. It's a GTA Grand Theft Auto style look, but instead of like from a GTA game, they basically took watercolored pictures of different locations in Delaware, Dewey Beach, and basically structured it, and it was really, really nice. And the last shout out goes to Miss Wilson. Where can my guests find you online?
I'm going to answer that, and then is it okay if I give a quick shout out to one person?
Sure, of course, go ahead.
Okay, 2 people, and that's it. First, I'd like to shout out Attorney General Madam Kathy Jennings, only because...
I voted for her, by the way.
Yes, Attorney General Kathy Jennings. I've met her since before she was elected. There's some things about the way she does things that I do not approve, but I shout her out for her honesty and her transparency. One thing I can say about her, even if she doesn't move the way I want her to move on some things, she is honest. And I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that in my elected officials. So shout out to Madam Attorney Kathy Jennings, and shout out to Dr. Jay Macklin, a woman who has been giving me guidance and support and love, and just more than I could possibly dream of. And I want to give her a shout out as well. If people want to contact me, if people want to reach me, please feel free to either, I'm trying to think what's the best way. You can go on my website at msinprisonreform.com, and join the movement. You can always go to my Facebook page and direct message me. I'm Rachelle Wilson, MSIN, make some intelligent noise. And of course, finally, I don't want to be inundated with emails, because I will definitely...
Get to you eventually.
I will get to them eventually. But if you absolutely must reach out to me, please.
DM.
I prefer the direct message through Facebook, but you can
That's how we organize
email me at makesomeintelligentnoise @gmail.com.
Awesome.
Make some intelligent noise @gmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Evan Haggard. This has been the High Soapbox. Miss Wilson, thank you for coming.
Thank you for